There are billions of galaxies in the universe. Among them, our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, is thought to have at least 200 billion observable stars, and the number of stars similar to our Sun is at least 50 billion. I understand that the human brain is not very good at comprehending how large these numbers are and how vast the universe is, but let's think about it. The fact that there are 50 billion Sun-like stars, and that these stars have many planets orbiting them, opens up the possibility that there are quadrillions of planets like our Earth in the universe. And where is everyone despite these numbers that push the limits of human reason to the limit? Incompatibility brought about by this problem is known as the Fermi Paradox. The paradox is named after the Italian Nobel Prize-winning physicist Enrico Fermi. During lunch at the National Laboratory in New Mexico in 1950, Fermi asked his colleagues these questions. Where is everybody? In a galaxy that should be full of intelligent beings, why can't we see any of them? It's been 74 years since the questions were asked, but we have never found a single bacterium on any planet, let alone those advanced civilizations that are the subject of movies and books. Of course, a series of events up to the present day have repeatedly triggered suspicions about the existence of aliens, but no government and no scientific community has made a statement like, yes, their existence has been proven, so unless we have irrefutable evidence, these thoughts will remain as doubts. We discussed these events in the first part of my video on extraterrestrial life. If you haven't seen it, don't miss that episode first. In this episode, we will talk about the most famous hypotheses for the solution of the Fermi Paradox and the most interesting projects carried out to date. By the way, I want you to know that I spend days preparing the videos, so I would be very happy if you subscribe and like them. Now let's move on to the hypotheses.
Good. The Air Force is here with those new round planes.
We don't have round planes, sir.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
The rare earth hypothesis. In fact, we should know that there is no such thing as a paradox in nature, because what we call a paradox is an indication that there is something about the universe that science has not yet fully solved, or that our theories cannot adequately explain. Therefore, there must be two logical solutions to the Fermi paradox. Either there are aliens and we have not been able to detect them, or there are no aliens. If we examine these two solutions one by one, many reasons and hypotheses emerge. One of them is that we are from rare Earths. The emergence of life on Earth may depend on a combination of a large number of rare and special conditions. According to this hypothesis, intelligent life is so rare in the universe because similar conditions are extremely unlikely to occur elsewhere. The silence hypothesis. This is one of the most controversial hypotheses in science put forward by many audiences, including UFO enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists. According to the silence hypothesis, aliens may have visited us since time immemorial and even helped us build many mysterious structures. However, they may have subsequently given up living on Earth, or they may still be among us and remain undetected. Some believe that governments are aware of the existence of aliens, utilizing them for technological advances and conducting many secret studies. Theorists even suggest that aliens sometimes abduct selected victims and conduct strange experiments. Those who support this hypothesis point to various historical and archaeological findings dating from ancient times to the present day. For example, structures such as the pyramids, Stonehenge, and the Nazca lines are considered too complex and advanced to be explained by ordinary human technology. Furthermore, some figures and symbols in ancient artworks and inscriptions are claimed to represent alien beings. The zoo hypothesis. This hypothesis is similar to the silence hypothesis, but with major differences. It argues that galactic civilizations knowingly observe many smaller civilizations, but do not interfere with any of them. An example of this is the observation of animals in zoos by humans. In other words, alien civilizations may see Earth and humanity as objects of experimentation or observation. In fact, proponents of the hypothesis speculate that there may be more than one reason for this. The first one is universal anthropological interest. Advanced civilizations may not want to directly influence developing civilizations. This is similar to anthropologists choosing not to intervene in the life of a tribe in order to observe it. Second are the risks of intervention. Intervention by a more advanced civilization could harm or destroy a less advanced civilization. The third would be galactic rules. If there is some kind of non-interference agreement between galactic civilizations, it means that superior civilizations may have adopted the principle of non-interference with civilizations like ours. The Great Filter Hypothesis proposes that life may be widespread in the universe, but that at a certain stage there is a great filter that prevents the evolutionary development of intelligent life. For example, there is some evidence that life on Mars may have started at an early stage, but the planet's surface is currently devoid of life. This could be an example of a great filter where life dies out before it reaches a certain stage. On the other hand, self-destructing technologies or natural disasters could also be examples of the logic of this filter. The period of existence of intelligent civilizations can be quite short due to technological or natural disasters. Because when we look at the history of the Earth, we know that there have been multiple periods of mass extinction. Moreover, it is thought to be prone to self-destruction due to nuclear war, environmental disasters, pandemics, or artificial intelligence taking control. Therefore, the hypothesis says that it is unlikely that a new civilization will develop enough to explore space, and even less likely that two such civilizations will exist and communicate in the same time period. If we accept this hypothesis, then our civilization doesn't have long to live. The Dark Forest Hypothesis. According to this hypothesis, other civilizations in the universe are either hiding from each other or using communication methods that consume very little energy, making them difficult to track down. The hypothesis has several possible scenarios. For example, even if we assume that all alien civilizations follow a similar thought process to ours, they may not want to communicate with us, unlike us wanting to communicate with them. Since our civilization developed radio technology, it has sent meaningful messages into space several times, but it may be wrong to expect them to do the same. Intelligent civilizations may even be consciously hiding themselves because of bad experiences in the past. By bad experiences, we mean conflicts with other civilizations, resource wars, or disasters that threaten their planet. Therefore, these civilizations may have chosen to hide themselves in order to preserve their peace and security. Another scenario is that our current technology and methods are insufficient to detect alien signals. Different technological standards or completely different communication methods may be used for universal communication. Because even though we have been listening for signals from space for almost 60 years, we still haven't heard anything. Either we are not adapting our devices to the right frequency, or the messages have already reached us, but we don't know how to decode them. For example, events like the WOW signal that I mentioned in the first part of the video, the Arecibo message that we sent, and crop circles can serve as examples. The remote corner hypothesis. According to this hypothesis, we as humanity may have evolved in a remote corner of the universe, far away from the civilizations that abound in the universe. Given the enormous size of the universe, our galaxy and its surrounding regions may have been quite isolated from more densely populated or civilization-rich regions. This unfortunate situation could explain why we may not have had contact with other civilizations until now. But all these ideas and hypotheses are just a collection of controversies that try to explain the paradox. So, according to science, they could all be null hypotheses, or there could be a completely different possibility that no human being could have thought of. But is there a more concrete approach to the existence of intelligent extraterrestrial life? This is where Frank Drake and his famous equation come in. Frank Drake is an American astrophysicist and radio astronomer. In 1961, he developed an equation to mathematically express the existence of intelligent extraterrestrial life. This equation aims to estimate the number of advanced civilizations in our galaxy and is the basis of many scientific debates. For a better understanding, you can pause the video to look at the elements that make up the equation and what they mean. Yes, the equation contains large uncertainties for each parameter, and there is no scientific consensus on the true values. Because, according to the equation, there should be at least 10,000 habitable planets in the Milky Way galaxy, making the Fermi Paradox even more complicated. However, even though it is widely criticized for including such unknown factors, it can still be a useful tool to give scientists a general framework. For example, it is used as a reference in the work of organizations such as SETI and guides efforts to investigate the existence of aliens. So what is SETI? SETI is an organization that searches for extraterrestrial intelligent life by examining signals from space and is a project initiated by NASA in 1971. SETI scans millions of stars using radio telescopes and other observation tools and examines regular, repeated, or irregular signals from these stars. The aim of the project is to find out if there are other intelligent life forms in the universe and to assess the possibility of communicating with potential civilizations. This project is still active, but it is not the first comprehensive project to be launched, because before SETI, there was another important project called Blue Book, which was shut down. Project Blue Book was a project initiated by the U.S. Air Force in 1952 to study and evaluate UFO sightings. By the closing year, approximately 12,618 UFO reports had been reviewed. These reports included a variety of sightings from the public, military personnel, and air traffic controllers. The goal was to analyze these observations in a scientific way and inform the public about UFOs. For example, one of these reports was the Mantell incident. In January 1948, in Kentucky, after a UFO was observed by several civilian and military witnesses, a chase race between 3 fighters and the UFO began. However, the chase did not last long and ended in the crash and death of Thomas Mantell, the commander of the small squadron. Another important report was the Washington UFO invasion of 1952. In those years, a large number of UFO sightings on the radar at Washington National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base again excited everyone, but these are only a few of the reports that were analyzed. Looking at the results, Project Blue Book attributed the vast majority of reports to natural phenomena, man-made craft, or other plausible explanations. About 701 cases could not be explained and were classified as unidentified. Project Blue Book ended in December 1969 and was officially closed in January 1970. The closing report concluded that UFOs did not pose a threat to national security, that most of the cases examined were misidentifications, and that there was no evidence to prove the existence of UFOs. Although they did not come up with the surprising results they expected, public interest in UFOs and extraterrestrial life has continued. In 2019, the History Channel even aired a television series dramatizing the project. Today, there are several other important projects active outside SETI. One of these is Breakthrough Listen, a 10-year, $100 million project launched in 2015 to search for extraterrestrial life. Another is NASA's Mars Exploration Program, which uses the world's most powerful telescopes to search for signs of life on Mars. This program lands landers and rovers on the Martian surface to study the planet's geology and possible biological activity. We are eagerly awaiting the results, as is everyone interested in space in the times to come. These are the most important and official projects. However, there is also an unofficial project, which seems fantastic because there is no evidence about its purpose and details, and if it is real, it is hard to imagine what is being hidden from humanity. This project is called SERPO, and its story is quite fascinating. For example, it talks about an interplanetary exchange program between a group of humans and aliens, and the leaked information includes what our scientists who were sent to their galaxy saw. If you would like a more detailed video about this project, Please let me know in the comments and help me decide. As far as life in space and aliens in general are concerned, nothing is certain until we have clear evidence. Who knows, maybe the first time we meet them will be the most amazing moment in the history of the world. Afterwards, as we discover the existence of a few civilizations at a time, it may seem like something ordinary. Remember, when we compare the existence of the universe with the history of the Earth's existence, our planet is still in its infancy. Considering that humans evolved only 6 million years ago, it is hard to imagine what will happen in a few thousand years, what will become commonplace, how far we will go beyond our limits. Maybe there won't even be a trace of the Earth. As far as I am concerned, I think that we are not the only living beings in these huge billions of galaxies, their solar systems and planets. There are two possibilities. Either we are alone in this universe, or we are not. Both of these possibilities are equally frightening.